Well, well, well. Look at you. The one name they said wouldn't make it past the whispers. The one soul they thought could be swallowed whole in that room full of snakes. And yet, here you are, not crawling out, not limping out, walking out like the war was yours from the very start. You know what that room was, right? It wasn't just four walls and a table. No, it was a battlefield where smiles were daggers, where every handshake was a noose, and every "how are you" was laced with poison. And you weren't supposed to survive that. You weren't supposed to outplay them. You were supposed to fold. They built it that way. The perfect trap, with perfect liars, with perfect timing. But here's the thing no one counted on. Somebody went to war for you. And I'm not talking about waving flags and giving speeches. I'm talking about bleeding for you in silence, taking blows in shadows, standing in front of knives before they ever came near your back. While you were sitting there thinking you were alone, somebody was burning bridges, flipping tables, and setting traps for the very snakes that came for you. See, the war they fought for you, it wasn't clean. It wasn't pretty. It was blood under fingernails and truth whispered through clenched teeth. It was knowing every eye in that room was watching for your fall, and still making sure you stood tall enough to block the sun. And now the air in that room is different. Every breath in there is shallow. Every glance is nervous. Every single one of them is calculating just how fast they can backpedal before you notice their name on the list. Because here's the secret, darling. It's not just that you survived. It's that you're no longer prey. That room, it's not a den anymore. It's a cage. And every snake in there is realizing they're the ones locked inside with you. You know why they're scared to breathe now? Because breathing means movement. Movement means sound. Sound means attention. And your attention is a death sentence. They spent their whole lives thinking the loudest voice in the room had the most power. But now, they've seen what happens when the loudest voice stays quiet and just watches. They can feel it. That pressure in the air, like the walls themselves are leaning in, like any wrong word could be the one that buries them. And don't get it twisted. They'll still smile. They'll still try to joke, still try to pass the poison like it's wine. But inside, they're choking on it. Because you've got something now that no snake can swallow. Leverage. Not the kind you hold in your hands, the kind you are. You walk different now. They feel it before they see it. That slow, steady pace of someone who's not rushing to prove a damn thing. You don't flinch at shadows anymore. Hell, you make shadows flinch. And let me tell you, when snakes realize they can't strike you, they start striking each other. Oh, the chaos you're about to witness. They'll tear each other apart, trying to convince you they were never against you in the first place. They'll swear they were rooting for you, that they had your back the whole time. But you'll just smile. That knowing smile. The one that says, I know exactly who slithered. I know exactly who hissed. And I know exactly who stayed when it got dark. This is your moment. Not because you won the war, but because the war exposed everything, every fake, every fraud, every snake. And now you've got the power to decide which ones you let crawl away and which ones you step on. So let them stare, let them whisper, let them be afraid to breathe. They should be, because in that room full of snakes, you're the one with the fangs now. You think they hate you now? Nah, hate was the appetizer. Fear is the main course. See, when you walked into that room, you were food, forks in their eyes, knives in their smiles. Every handshake was a fork-tongued welcome straight to the jugular. They were ready to feed on you, slow, sweet, surgical. But then, something happened they didn't budget for. Someone, or something, burned their whole damn menu. And now, they're staring at you like you're the storm that just ripped the roof off their little kingdom. And maybe you are. 'Cause you ain't just surviving anymore. You're rearranging furniture in their heads, renting space in their paranoia, redecorating with nightmares. Every snake in that room, they slithered in thinking they had the floor. Now the floor's lava, baby. Every move burns, every word burns. And you're the one holding the match. They thought they were the hunters. Nah. You flipped the food chain upside down. Now they're prey, wide-eyed, jittery, checking corners like the walls might grow teeth. And that silence. Oh, that's not peace. That's pressure. Pressure so thick they can taste the iron in the air. Pressure that makes breathing sound like a confession. Pressure that makes their heartbeat sound like a war drum announcing who's next. You ever watch a snake choke on its own tail? You're about to. Because when they can't get to you, they start chewing on each other. Whispers turn to roars. Alliances turn to ashes. Deals turn to detonations. It's a feeding frenzy without a feast. Just fangs in the dark, biting whatever's closest. And you're not just watching. You're recording every hiss, every strike, every desperate little slither to survive. You're building a map of every move they make. So when it's time, you don't just cut off their head, you erase their whole species from the room. So let them sweat, let them taste the fear in their own spit, because in that snake pit they built for you, you just became the earthquake that swallows it whole. You ever notice snakes don't blink? Yeah, they just stare, waiting. Watching, measuring your pulse through the way your chest moves. But here's the thing, they can't measure yours anymore. Because now, your heartbeat, it ain't a beat. It's a bomb timer, tick, tock. Every second they sit in that room, they're wondering, when is it gonna blow? When is their name gonna be the one whispered in that low, sharp tone that says, you're done? And you're surgical with it. You ain't swinging wild. No. You're cutting veins they didn't even know they had, slicing their comfort open, letting their confidence bleed out on the floor where everyone can see it. They used to think they were clever, sliding words under your skin like razor blades in candy. Now they can't even unwrap a sentence without choking on the truth inside it. Their mouths are mousetraps now. Every word they drop is just bait for their own downfall. And that's the beauty of it. You're not chasing them. You're not hunting them. You're just existing. And existing in that room is enough to make them unravel. You're their migraine, their insomnia, their quiet panic at 3 a.m. You're the what if they can't shake. What if you know? What if you've got proof? What if you've already told someone? What if that someone is sitting right next to them right now, smiling, sipping their drink, waiting for the signal? You turn the whole room into a chessboard, and here's the punchline. They still think they're playing checkers. But you're not moving pieces. You're moving the whole board, and when you tilt it just right, all their little pawns, rooks, and fake kings are gonna slide straight off the edge into the pit they dug for you. Now the silence isn't just heavy, it's loaded. Every inhale is Russian roulette. Every glance is a coin flip between friend and enemy. And the sickest part? They don't even know which one you are. That's why they're scared to breathe. Because the oxygen in this room, it's yours now. And you decide who chokes and who gets to live long enough to regret it. Funny thing about a snake pit? When the fire starts, nobody's looking for a way out. They're looking for who lit the match, and right now, every eye in that room is on you. They don't see a survivor anymore. They see the storm they tried to drown. They see the flood that remembers every face, every voice, every hiss that tried to pull it under. They see the reckoning, and here's the twisted part. You didn't even have to touch them to break them. Nah, you played them like glass. You didn't shatter them with force, you cracked them with pressure. Little hairline fractures in their pride, their plans, their pretty little power games. And the best part, those cracks. They spread from the inside. See, when you stand too close to someone who ain't scared of the dark, the shadows start whispering things you can't unhear. And you are the dark now. They're not afraid of what you'll do. They're afraid of what you already know. Every truth you've been sitting on is a loaded weapon, and they're all just standing there wondering which one's aimed at their skull. You're not in their head anymore. You're renting rooms, changing the locks, moving the furniture, and charging rent in sleepless nights. They don't want to speak around you, not because you might answer, but because you might smile. That smile says, I heard that, and I'll remember. And they know. You remember everything, the lies, the deals, the little betrayals they thought were invisible. You're the file they can't delete, the tape they can't erase, the witness they can't silence. And now the silence is screaming louder than anything they've ever heard. That's why they keep swallowing hard. Because breathing in here is like swallowing glass. Every inhale cuts. Every exhale feels like giving something away. And here's the truth they'll never say out loud. They don't want you gone. They want you close so they can see you coming. Because if you vanish from sight, that's when the real panic sets in. Because when you disappear, that's when the strike lands. So let them choke on their own air. Let them suffocate on the fear they built. Because in that room full of snakes, you're not just the one who made it out alive. You're the reason they'll never breathe easy again. You feel it, don't you? That hum in the air, like the walls themselves are breathing slow. Waiting, not waiting for you. Waiting on you. See, this ain't about who's got the most venom anymore. It's about who's got the patience to watch the other one drink it, and you could sit here for centuries, watching every snake take a sip, one by one. 'Cause you know time ain't on their side. It's on your leash. Every second, you're silent. They're confessing in their heads. Every minute you're still. They're digging their own graves with what-if shovels. What if you know the whole story? What if you've been playing possum this entire time? What if the war they thought they won was the war you let them fight just to see who would survive? And now the survivors, they're just suspects, every single one. You turned a conference table into a crime scene. And the sick part? Nobody knows what the crime even was. All they know is that they might be guilty. You ever seen a snake try to act human? It's hilarious. The fake laughter, the forced, we're all good smiles. The way they touch your shoulder just a little too long, trying to feel if you're tense or coiled. But you're neither. You're relaxed because this isn't your first pit. And this ain't your first war. You've been here before. The difference is, this time, you're the one writing the ending. The air's getting heavy now. Not because the room is small, but because every word they don't say is hanging between you like an executioner's axe. And they know the second you open your mouth. That axe drops, so they keep breathing through their teeth, like maybe if they stay quiet long enough, you'll forget. But you don't forget. You never forget. And the longer you wait, the sharper the blade gets. Tick, tock. That's not the clock. That's their heartbeat. loud enough to drown out their own thoughts, loud enough for you to know. The fear is finally sinking in. Ever been in a room so quiet? You can hear fear sweating. That's what this is now. Not just quiet, hollow. Like the air's been vacuumed out and all that's left is pulse and panic. They're not talking because words are dangerous. They're not moving because motion draws attention. They're not breathing because oxygen feels like evidence. See, right now, they're realizing something ugly. You don't need to raise your voice to own the room. You don't even need to move. You are the room. Every corner, every shadow, every inch of air they choke on belongs to you. And you've been patient. Too patient. Like a butcher sharpening the same knife over and over and over. Not because it's dull, but because you want them to hear it. You want the sound burned into their skulls so deep they'll hear it in their dreams for years. You ever notice how snakes move when they know they've been spotted? Slower, lower, like maybe if they pretend they're not a threat, they'll be spared. But snakes don't fool storms, and you're the lightning they forgot was in the forecast. Every blink they take is a gamble. Every glance at you feels like a dare. They're not even sure if the war is over, or if they're standing in the middle of the next one. And you're just letting them think they're safe. Because that's the part that really burns them. You're not fighting anymore. You're waiting. And they know waiting means you've already decided how this ends. It's just a matter of when you feel like pulling the trigger. They keep thinking back. Every word they've said around you, every smirk, every side eye, every little snake move they thought was invisible. And now, they're replaying them in their heads like crime scene footage, wondering which one was the mistake that signed their name in red. And here's the killer. You're not telling them a damn thing. Because in silence, their mind does all the work for you. They're building the rope, tying the knot, and slipping it around their own necks. And you're just watching, counting heartbeats, counting breaths, counting down. You ever seen a room shrink without the walls moving? That's what's happening now. It's not smaller because the space changed. It's smaller because you filled it, every inch, every breath. Every thought. They're not just in the same room as you. They're inside your shadow. And shadows don't have exits. You know the worst kind of war? The one where the enemy doesn't know it's already over. That's where they are right now. Standing on a battlefield that's been cleared of bodies, not realizing the last one left to fall is them. You can feel it. The way their eyes keep darting around. Like they're looking for something that's not there. A way out. A lifeline. A crack in the floor they can slip through. But there's nothing. No crack. No rope. No mercy. The thing about snakes, they only feel powerful when they think they're unseen. When they feel exposed, they coil inward. They suffocate themselves before you even touch them. And that's what's happening now. They're eating their own fear, choking on it, trying to swallow it before you smell the panic on their breath. You're not speaking, but you're saying everything. Every still second is a sentence. Every calm blink is a warning. And they can't tell if your silence is forgiveness or the drum roll before the shot. It's funny. They used to measure their worth by how much power they could take from others. Now their worth is measured by one thing, whether they're still breathing when you decide to stand up. They're not afraid of what you'll say. They're afraid of the fact that you haven't said it yet. Because the longer you hold it, the bigger they think it is. And the bigger they think it is, the smaller they feel. You've turned the room into a waiting room. Not for a meeting, not for a decision. For an execution date they'll never see coming. And the best part, They're not even praying for survival anymore. They're praying to just not be the first. Ever feel the air get so heavy? It's like the ceiling's sitting on your chest. That's what's happening now. They don't know if it's fear, guilt, or just the weight of your presence. But whatever it is, it's crushing them slow. Every second you don't move is a question they can't answer. Every second you don't speak is a sentence they can't appeal. They're drowning, and there's no water. You know what snakes hate more than anything? Stillness. Not because they can't handle it, but because in stillness they can hear themselves. The slither, the hiss, the sound of their own deceit rattling in their ears. And right now, the room is so still. They can hear their own hearts trying to claw their way out of their rib cages. They can't sit still, but they can't move. They can't speak, but they can't stay silent. They can't look at you, but they can't look away. You've turned them into statues carved from raw paranoia. And the real killer? You're not even looking at them. You could be staring at the wall, the table, the floor. Doesn't matter, because they know you know. And knowing without speaking is worse than any accusation you could spit. They've started rehearsing their excuses in their heads. The fake surprise, the shocked denial, the "I would never." They're building lifeboats in their imagination, but deep down they know. The tide is already here, and you control the moon. You can feel it, the whole room breathing like one organism, in, outside, in, outside. The inhale is fear, the exhale is hope. And every time they let it out, you take a little more of it away. They thought the war was loud, the shouting, the deals, the open attacks. But this is war at its most lethal. The kind where the enemy dies without a shot, just from the weight of knowing they've already lost. And here's the sweetest part. They're not even sure what you're going to do. They just know. When you finally do it, it won't be loud. It'll be surgical, and it'll be final. So they keep breathing, shallow, careful, almost silent. Because in that room full of snakes, the sound of their own breath might be the thing that gets them killed. You ever watch a snake right before it dies? Not when it's hissing, not when it's striking, but when it knows. When it feels that cold shadow drop over it and realizes there's no way out. That's this moment, right now, all this time. You've let them think maybe, just maybe, they'd slither out untouched. You gave them enough air to breathe, enough silence to hope, enough rope to pray. But hope is a liar, and rope? Rope is for hanging. Because here's the truth, this wasn't survival, this wasn't escape, this was an ambush. And they walked you right into it.